Alright, so what we're going to do is once you have all your data here for your SnailCam and Google Sheets, you're just going to go ahead and highlight all of your data from 0 to your last cell here. For me, it's 360.75. You're going to go up to Insert, and we're going to create a chart. And inside Chart, right away, we're going to change the chart type to a line graph. So you'll see a line or a motion of your cam. Don't have to change anything else. You're just going to go to Customize on the right-hand side here. And we're going to change a few things first. So chart titles. Chart titles here, what I like to do is go delete this and I'll put in VS for verse. So this is going to be the height of the top of the follower versus the height of the bottom follower through its angle of rotation. Then for the horizontal axis, it already has angle of rotation. And so then the vertical axis, we're going to call this displacement, and we're going to put that in inches. So again, this is going to be the displacement. Red will be the displacement of the bottom, and blue will be displacement of the top in this example. I don't need to change anything there, so I'm going to close that. I'm going to go to Series, and in Series, I want to see the individual points that I've created up here, 0, 45, 30. So under the point size, it says none right now. I'm going to highlight that and change that to 4 pixels, which is 4 px, and hit Enter. And you can see here now I have the dots indicating on my line chart. So it's kind of like a scatter plot that's connected with lines. Nothing else I really have to change here. So I'm going to go down to, let's see here, anything on legend? Not worried about legend. Horizontal axis, yes. So under horizontal axis, what I want to do is I want to set the min and max values here. So the min value is going to be 0 degrees, the max value will be 360. Then for my vertical axis, my min value, I'll stay at 0. And max value, ladies and gentlemen, is you just want to round up to the nearest whole inch. Round up to the nearest whole inch from your largest displacement. So in this case, my largest displacement is 6.196. So I'm just going to have the max value at 7. Last, I'm going to go to grid lines. And under grid lines, so apply to vertical axis, I'm going to change that to the horizontal axis. Now this is going to be different for hex values. Hex values, you're going to play around with this so you see every 30 degrees or hex cams. Everyone else, it should be 9. So the major grid line count for the horizontal axis for almost everyone else is going to be 9 every 45 degrees. Hex, you are going to be a little bit different. You're going to play around with that. My guess is you're going to be somewhere around maybe like 11 or 12. Start there and increase up until you see 0, 30, 60, 90, so on from the left to the right. Displacement on the left, what we can do is vertical axis. We'll keep these like this, but we'll add a minor grid count, and we'll put in like a minor grid count of 4. So vertical axis, minor grid count of 4. And that'll give us a better indication of each where our dots are hitting. We're not going to be able to perfectly know it's 1.481, but we would say, okay, we're roughly halfway, so we're close to 1.5 there just by looking at this. This is your individual cam that you created. This is your motion graph. After this motion graph, you have 2 things you want to do. Over on the right-hand side, it says compare the motion graphs for the top of the follower and the bottom of the follower. Describe the differences. How does this align to the length of the follower? So essentially, describe the difference that you see at each one. So at 0 degrees, what's the difference between the height of the top and the bottom? At 90 degrees, what is it? So compare the differences, and then what you want to do is then how does this align to the length of the follower? So you go back to your inventor model, measure the length of the follower, how does it compare? Does this make sense? Okay. Second, you are going to calculate the maximum displacement for your cam. Here's how you determine the maximum displacement of your cam. I just do this off to the side, but essentially you're just going to take the max value that you see in one row and minus the min value that you see in the same row. Essentially, that is going to be, if we go here, this is my cam box, from one angle, for example, here's 0 degrees, the very other side, say 180 for me, like this would be the lowest part of the cam, and that would be the highest part of the cam. What is that maximum displacement or change in one side of the follower? So to do that, you can just identify what the max and min is and subtract them, or you can use an equation by going equals max, and you can highlight all your values, close the parentheses. Keep this number. You're going to then go into part 2. This is kind of a little bit longer one. You're going to go into part 2. For example, my type of cam was a snail, and I did like the 3-inch snail. And it might be different from you, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in my value for 3 inches. I'm going to get the values or the max displacement from the other people. Okay? So what we'll do is after I'm done with the video here, we'll that can be, as long as they have this data, at least one entire row, that can be figured out. Once you have this data, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to put in a new chart. This time we're going to do a scatter chart like before. So once you have this data from your partners, you're going to highlight it all. You're going to go Insert, Chart, Chart Type. This time we're going to go back to the old scatter plot. And in the scatter plot, for Customize, we are going to change our chart axes and titles. So our vertical axis in this case is going to be the maximum displacement. So maximum displacement. The horizontal axis is going to be our nominal diameter that you were given. So we should be good there. For series, we're going to add in a trend line, and then we're going to make sure this is linear. Label is going to be the equation, so we're going to find our equation. And sure, we could probably show the correlation. Nothing else to worry about. In legend, I'm going to put this at the bottom here. So I can just, again, it's easier to see. And then I really don't have to change anything else. All right? What you're going to do is you're going to take this information that you gathered from other people, their maximum displacement, and you're going to answer these following questions. So with this slope equation, you're going to find the function. You're going to find the function here, where m of d is going to be the maximum displacement and d is going to be diameter. You're going to explain the interpretation of the y-intercept of this equation in words. So identify what the y-intercept is, and then explain what you think that is, and then explain the interpretation of this slope in words from before. This stuff, if you want to work on this with your group, absolutely do that. Any questions right now?